long before the empires of Rome, before Athens debated philosophy or Jerusalem spoke of commandments, there was Babylon, not the city of biblical legend, not yet a kingdom of gold and grandeur. In the early 18th century BCE, Babylon was small, a modest city-state along the Euphrates, overshadowed by giants like Larsa, Eshnunna, and the powerful kingdom of Elam. But from this modest beginning would rise an empire, and from that empire would come a code that shaped civilization. Mesopotamia was a fractured land, each city ruled by its own king. Borders shifted with war, alliances were made, then broken. Power passed like a flame in the wind. Babylon, surrounded by these rising and falling powers, had one advantage: location. It lay on key trade routes between Sumer in the south and Akkad in the north. But it lacked armies, prestige, and influence. In 1792 BCE, Hammurabi inherited the throne of Babylon from his father, Sin-Muballit. He was not born a conqueror, but he was a strategist, patient, calculating, and visionary. He spent years fortifying his borders, improving irrigation, and building trust among his people. While other kings rushed to war, Hammurabi watched and waited. Eventually, cracks appeared. Neighboring kings turned against one another. Battles erupted over water, trade, and pride. Hammurabi seized his moment. In a stunning campaign of diplomacy, alliance, and conquest, he defeated Larsa, subdued Mari, and brought the rival kings under his control. By 1750 BCE, Babylon was no longer a city-state. It was an empire, and Hammurabi was its architect. But conquest brings chaos. Diverse peoples, languages, and customs, now united under one crown. How could justice be served fairly across such a vast realm? How could peace be kept without endless punishment? Hammurabi had his answer. Not fear, not force, but law. Hammurabi issued a bold decree, a legal code carved into stone and placed in public view. Not hidden in palaces, not reserved for priests, but visible to all. 282 laws covering every corner of society, written in Akkadian, the common tongue. It became known as the Code of Hammurabi. The code was not abstract. It was specific, tangible, sometimes harsh, but always structured. Here are some of the laws that governed Babylon's people. If a builder constructs a house, and it collapses and kills the owner, then the builder shall be put to death. If a man puts out the eye of another man, his own eye shall be put out. If a doctor performs surgery and the patient dies, the doctor's hands shall be cut off. If a son strikes his father, his hands shall be hewn off. If a slave says to his master, "You are not my master," his ear shall be cut off. If a man accuses another of a crime without proof, he shall be put to death. If a merchant cheats a buyer, he shall repay tenfold. If a woman is found guilty of adultery, she and her lover may be bound and cast into the river. Justice wasn't just about punishment. It was about prevention. The code told people what to expect, what was allowed, and what was forbidden. The code recognized social hierarchy: nobles, awilu, commoners, mushkenu, and slaves, wardu. A noble who injured another noble paid a price in blood, but if he harmed a slave, the penalty was money. Harsh, yes, but revolutionary in its reach. Even slaves had rights. Even kings were bound by precedent. The code regulated daily life in extraordinary detail. How much farmers owed if they flooded a neighbor's field. What wages a laborer should be paid. How to divide inheritance among sons. Rules for adopting children. Penalties for false witnesses and corrupt officials. Even temple rituals. Shipping contracts and divorce proceedings had written legal standards. It was, for its time, astonishingly advanced. Hammurabi ruled for over 42 years. In that time, he transformed Babylon from a minor city into the heart of an empire, and himself from king to legend. He died around 1750 BCE, and as often happens without his leadership, the empire weakened. But the code did not vanish. For over 3,000 years, Hammurabi's code was buried and forgotten. Then in 1901, French archaeologists unearthed a black stone stele in Susa, Iran, far from Babylon. The laws had been captured but not erased. Today the stele stands in the Louvre Museum in Paris. Towering nearly 7 feet high, its cuneiform inscription still legible. The Code of Hammurabi wasn't the first set of laws in history, but it was the most complete, the most ambitious, and the most influential of its time. Its echoes are found in the Roman 12 Tables, the Hebrew Torah, Islamic Sharia, modern legal systems built on codified law and public justice. The idea that laws must be written, made public, and applied by precedent began here. Hammurabi was more than a king. He was a lawgiver, a visionary who understood that true power comes not from fear, but from fairness. Empires rise and fall, kings come and go, but law endures. And so, carved in stone and remembered across the centuries, the voice of Hammurabi still speaks.